Today we're exploring a process that you can use to manage your negative thoughts. Every thought you think creates a chemical reaction in our brain. Happy thoughts make chemicals that make you feel happy. And negative thoughts create chemicals that make you feel bad, and then you feel bad and you start to create more thoughts that make you feel worse. And it becomes a downward spiral. You can't think any other way than the way you already feel, and this becomes this downward spiral which now has momentum, like a sled going down a snowy mountain, and it's hard to stop once it really gets going. The mind is now a servant to the body because of the chemicals that have been released based on your thoughts. This is good and bad news. Which do you want first? Okay, so most people go with the bad news, so we'll go with that. The bad news is we can literally fall into the trap of becoming a victim to our own thoughts and spiral further downwards by automatically thinking more negative thoughts, which just totally sucks. But the great news is that we can start thinking more positive thoughts on purpose before the negative ones get too far along. We can literally interrupt our own thoughts and decide to think better ones and work on rewiring our minds. The complex way of putting it is to build new neural pathways to achieve fulfillment and happiness over time. And we can start this straight away, right now, in this or any moment. It's important to observe the negative thought and resulting emotion as it comes up. But if you can allow yourself to observe it and then release it as fast as you can, then you are changing your program or conditioning inside the mind bit by bit. So here is a 4-step process for you to use. So number 1, I'm inviting you to take a step back when you hear that negative thought come up and the emotion it brings on. To shift out of being in it and to step back into observing it. Catch that negative thought as early as you can and realize it's your brain going down that negativity track. And each negative thought will build on the next. So as soon as you can, number 2, let it go. Simply let it pass on by like a cloud across the sky of your mind or a car driving past. You don't have to grasp onto it. It will take a bit of practice to do this. If it's proving hard to let go and is holding on like a happy toddler holds on to its blankie, then number 3, interrupt the thought and train your brain not to go there by using the following techniques. Wear an elastic wristband if you need to and snap it when you get a negative thought. This is literally teaching your mind, never think that thought. Or if it's easier for you, push that thought away mentally, visualize it going out from you and moving away. Or run madly on the spot. And number 4, then distract yourself and focus on something else. Look for something that makes you feel joy instead, no matter how small. Patting a cat, chatting with someone else, about something else, going for a walk, just finding something to appreciate even. Just feeling joy and appreciation releases a chemical called dopamine, and this trains your brain to look for more happiness. You literally cannot think a negative and positive thought at the same time. Now here's a summary of what we've covered today. Every thought you think causes a chemical reaction in our brains. Happy thoughts make feel-good chemicals, and there are 4 major chemicals in the brain that influence our happiness. They're dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Negative thoughts create chemicals that make you feel bad. When someone's feeling stressed, a hormone called cortisol is released into the bloodstream. Over the short term, cortisol helps humans cope with dangers by creating energy stores for flight or fight responses. But consistently high cortisol levels can harm some bodily systems. It can actually change the structure of part of your brain. The negative thoughts can become a downward spiral, which now has momentum and is hard to stop once it really gets going. When this happens, the mind is now servant to the body because of the chemicals that have been released into your bloodstream based on those thoughts. So the bad news is we can literally fall into the trap of becoming victim to our own thoughts. But the great news is that we can start thinking more loving, optimistic, or neutral thoughts on purpose before the negative ones get too far along. It's important to observe the negative thoughts and resulting emotions as they come up. But if you can allow yourself to observe it and then release it as fast as you can, then you're changing your program or conditioning inside the mind bit by bit over time. When you're feeling sad, angry, depressed, or unhappy, notice what thoughts led you there. Then you can ask yourself, are these thoughts really true? You are not your thoughts and you don't have to believe what they say. Don't fight them though. A thought is just a thought and it means nothing about you unless you decide to believe them and then take them on. Or, worse yet, act on these negative thoughts. Thoughts are simply thoughts. Just observe or witness them and detach yourself from them. Literally let them go. Thoughts are really just temporary fluctuations in energy, which is why managing your energy is so important. So be sure to watch our upcoming videos on how to manage your energy. Remember, suffering only occurs when you attach to a thought and allow it to have power over you by choosing to believe it. Once you've had a chance to watch, please comment on the blog, as I'd love to know how much valuable time that you can use on many other awesome things that you think you'll get back in your life by utilizing this process.